Alright, welcome back to the last video slash card review video for the Ashes of Outland. I always finish off with the neutral cards, so let's get right into them. We got Blistering Rot, which is a 3-cost 1/2 at the end of your turn. You summon a Rot with stats equal to this minion. So it works very well in a type of buff deck or maybe a token deck per se. So I could see this. I see it similar to Echoing Ooze, which was a 2-cost, but it was only you got another one. But this one keeps doing multiple copies of it, but those multiple copies don't make more copies, which would be really, really good. That would be way too steamrolly, like the Vicious Fledgling was back in Ungoro. They didn't want to do that again. But this is okay. I could see it being relatively decent, or used at least maybe a little bit. I'm gonna go with a 5 on it, because there could be uses. I just don't see it necessarily being great, really. Bone Chewer Brawler, 2-cost 2/3 taunt. Whenever this minion takes damage, you gain 2 attack. This I've seen that it could be pretty good, especially in Priest, where it takes damage and then you just heal it right away. I do like that a lot, is the damaging and then healing it, so it's got that extra attack. So it's like a 4/3 then at that point, and then keep going and repeating. It's just, I think this card is pretty strong, and since you got to deal with it right away, it's because of the taunt, it makes it seem more threatening too then, because like, oh, I can't really deal with the 2/1 behind it that I want to with my 1 attack. He's just gonna hit me with this instead, and now he's gonna have some more attack, and then you're just gonna heal it back. So very good for Priest, especially. I'm gonna go with a 6. I think it's pretty strong. 6 out of 10. Bone Chewer Vanguard. So basically a bigger version of another Bone Chewer. So we got taunt whenever this minion takes damage, against 2 attacks. So same thing there. Instead, this is a 7-cost 4/10. So could be a lot more value for that as well, especially. And also, again, amazing in Priest. I could see this being in like some kind of big Resurrection Priest type deck with the Mass Resurrection to pull this back. So I totally think this could be another strong card. I think this one's stronger than the smaller version of it, because of, obviously it's bigger. It's got 10 health, so a lot more difficult to deal with. And once it takes enough damage, then anything that hits it basically dies. So I will go with a 7 out of 10 on this one, because I do think it's better than the other one. Burrowing Squirpid. 4-cost 5/2 beast. Battlecry, deal 2 damage. If it kills the target, you get stealth on it. Honestly, just a better version of the Stormpike Commando, obviously, who's costs more, has less attack, doesn't have a beast tag, can't gain stealth. So just way better by far. And I mean, Stormpike Commando was not good. It's not playable. No one really plays that at all. This one, maybe in like the stealth rogue type stuff that is going on, I could maybe see something. Because it's got the battle cry is okay. It's got pretty good stats for a 4-cost. And it's not going to die most likely on the first turn you play it, because it's probably going to have stealth when it kills the thing that you play it. Because you're probably only going to play it if it kills something. So, and it's got a beast tag, so maybe could be good for a beast deck too, for Hunter, maybe, I don't know. Not bad though, I do like it. I will go 6 out of 10 again on that one. Disguised Wanderer. 4 cost 3/3 demon with a death rattle of summon a 9/1 Inquisitor. Now the 9/1 is huge, but most likely your opponent's going to kill the 3/3 and have an answer for the 9/1 right away then, because they're not going to kill that 3/3 unless they have an answer for the 9/1. Unless you end up killing it on your turn, but then you can't use that 9/1 right away until your next turn, which they could very well have an answer. So it's tough. It's especially bad against Mage, because you kill the 3/3 and then you just ping the 9/1 with your Fire Blast hero power. That's why Magma Rager was always so bad against Mage. 1 health is just, it's hard to deal with. Now, you're adding an extra cost. You're putting a 3/3 on top of it, and then giving it more attack, and it's hiding behind that 3/3 first. Is that better? Yes. Is it good? Maybe? I don't know. That's... Sorry. That's, that could be... I don't know. The nice things you could do with it is trigger a bunch... Use it to trigger its death rattle a bunch of times, which would be really good value then, because then that's a bunch of 9/1s you're summoning then, instead of just the 1/5/1, which you can't really make duplicates terribly easily. So maybe someone's looking in their Hunter, and they're using a bunch of death rattle triggers to make a bunch of 9/1s. I don't know. Is that viable? Probably not. Is it fun? Yeah, that could be fun. I think that could be pretty fun. But I don't necessarily see it as being, like, good. But super fun, though. I would love to try that. Just death rattle a bunch of stuff with this, and just a bunch of 9/1s. That's great. I will only go 5, though. I'll throw it down the middle. Someone can maybe make this work, but not sure. Dragon Moss Sky Stalker. 6 cost 5/6 dragon, death rattle, summon a 3/4 dragon rider. Simple. Relatively decent stats. There's not too much for me to say on this one. I think it's pretty good. 6 out of 10. Sorry about my throat. It's very, yeah. It's very, like, ticklish right now. That's why I keep coughing. Okay, we got the Ethereal Aug Merchant, which is a 1 cost 2/1 with Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a minion, and give it spell damage +1. I'm seeing a lot of these in the neutral sets, deal 1 damage and give a minion something. I don't necessarily see them being great or good, really. They're all just kind of, I don't think, really worth it. Because I think they're all 1 cost 2/1s that have a Battlecry of deal 1 damage and then just give a minion something. So they're all very similar. But they're not good, I would say. I don't think that 1 damage for whatever you're giving it is really worth it. Because you're playing the minion the stats as it is because that's what you want. If you're looking for spell damage, you're going to just play spell damage minions instead of grabbing a few spell damage minions, grabbing a non-spell damage minion, and then playing this to give that minion spell damage. Or you're not going to want to damage your already spell damage minion to give it more spell damage. I just don't see these type of cards seeing real use. So I will go with 3. 3 out of 10. Felfin Navigator. 4 cost 4/4 Murloc. Battlecry, give your other Murlocs +1/+1. Good for a Murloc deck. I could see it in like Murloc Shaman, because I know that was popular. I don't know if it still is. I know that was very good for a while. Overall, it's just a solid Murloc. Surprisingly biggish stats for a Murloc, but hey. It's welcome. They need something bigger. I think the most expensive Murloc is the 6-cost Murloc, but it's only a 2/3. With a battle cry of dealing 2 damage to all other non-Murloc minions, which is only wild exclusive. But I think that's the biggest. I don't know. Scargill's a 4/4. Megafin doesn't count because he's a quest. I think that might be it then. Scargill, really. I mean, there's a 2/5. I would argue the 4/4 is quote-unquote bigger because it has more attack. Old Murkeye normally becomes the biggest, but he is a 2/4 still. So, I mean, they need something a little bigger, a little buff. I think it could be played in a Murloc type deck. I will go 6 out of 10. Frozen Shadow. Or Shadow Weaver. Shadow? Because if you say Shadow, then it takes out that W, and then is it Shadow Eaver? Like, I'm not exactly sure. 3 cost, 4/3. Battlecry freeze an enemy. Simple, stats are fine. This is a relatively basic card that you just... It's just one of those pack fillers, I guess, so I'll go 4 out of 10. Here's another Og Merchant. So 1 cost, 2/1. Guardian Og Merchant. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a minion. Give it Divine Shield. This one I could actually see being relatively useful, because Divine Shield normally blocks more than 1 damage. So this one is probably one of the only ones I could see being pretty dang useful otherwise. So I will give it 5 out of 10. Imprisoned Vile Fiend. 2 cost, 3/5 demon. It's dormant for 2 turns, and it has a rush when it wakes up. So basically, best case scenario, you get this turn, you play this turn 2, and it wakes up on turn 4 for a 3/5 with rush. Is a 4 cost 3/5 with rush worth it? Maybe. That's not bad. Thing again, you gotta remember, top decking dormant cards is absolutely terrible, and it doesn't do anything for you the turn you get it, and the turn you play it. It's really just, it's not useful for a bit. Which, if you're looking for that perfect answer, this is not going to be it when you're drawn, hoping for something good. You will be very upset. But, I will say, it's not bad. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Infectious Sporling. 1 cost, 1/2. After this damages a minion, turn into an Infectious Sporling. I don't even know why this is a thing. They always got to make their meme card, apparently, for the set. I guess that's a thing now. I don't know. This one is not good. I'll go with because you're infecting a thing, which then infects your stuff, which you don't want it to, which then you're infecting back, and it's really just going back and forth until a spell kills one. Because minions can't kill it unless they have Divine Shield. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 2 out of 10. It's not good. Morarg Artifactor. 2 cost, 2/4 demon. All minions take double damage from spells. This one's kind of weird to rate, because it's meant to be like a drawback kind of, so it's like a little bit bigger for a 2 cost, but it also could be very useful, because your spells also now do double damage to minions as well. So you could maybe play this on a turn that you're planning on doing a big spell, maybe. And then you can use Flame Strike to deal 8 and completely wipe the board on their side. So this could be absolutely incredible for you and be super useful. Therefore, I will actually give this a 7 out of 10, because I actually do think that is really nice and super useful at times. Overconfident Orc. 3 cost, 1/6 taunt. While at full health, this has +2 attack. So basically, take one off. Take 1 cost off of the Mogire Guardian or whatever, which is a 1/7 taunt for 4. So just better. It's got 1 less health. Whoop-de-doo. But now it's got a little extra attack on the first hit. For 1 shaper. I think this is just way better. To that thing especially. Is it? But then you gotta go, is it good? Period. Not by comparison, just is it good? Which you could probably argue both ways on this. And I'm gonna go with it's okay. I think it's okay. It can be played as like a filler if need be, for like some kind of taunt. But it's not something I would like throw in your deck because it's like that good. No, you put Overconfident Orc as either you need some room, you need some kind of taunt, or you've run out of taunts and you're looking for a taunt. This one's pretty decent, so I'll go with a 4 out of 10. I honestly forgot this card existed. Okay. Replicatotron. 4 cost, 3/3 mech. At the end of your turn, transform a neighbor into a copy of this. That doesn't seem good. Because if you're going to build your deck around small minions to turn into other Replicatotrons, right? So if you don't draw the Replicatotrons, then your deck is absolutely terrible. But if you just play a normal deck, Replicatortron could turn your big minions into something small. So really, I don't really see a point to this card at all. Because if you're playing around it, then you have to hope you draw it and hope it doesn't die. Because you can't have anything big on the board when this thing's out there. Because it will transform something small, and then the next turn it's going to 2 of them are going to transform if they're both alive. Which means one of the big ones is probably going to get transformed if you've got one out there. Not good. I'm going to go 2 out of 10. It's not good. Rocket Og Merchant. 1 cost, 2/1, Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a minion. Give it rush. No. I don't. There's no point to this. You don't need rush that badly that you're going to take a little damage for it. Just run a rush minion instead. The Divine Shield one made sense because Divine Shield's good. Rush is good, but like you don't need to give it to something quick for 1 damage. Just play a rush minion instead. So I'm gonna go 2 out of 10. This one's not good. Rust Steed Raider. 5 cost, 1/8. Taunt, rush, battlecry, gain plus 4 attack this turn. So it's a 5/8 on the first turn till the end of the turn, and then it's a 1 however much damage it took from attacking with that rush. I honestly don't think that's actually that amazing. It seems a little weak, because now it's down to 1 attack again. And it probably doesn't have too much health left, because it probably killed, I'm guessing, a 5/5. So you probably got a 1/3 now. With taunt. That you played for 5, and was the 5/5 was probably also 5, so maybe making up for it that way, but it's iffy. It's iffy. I'll go 4 out of 10 on it. I'll be nice. 4 out of 10. Rust Worn Cultist. 4 cost, 3/3. Battlecry. Give your other minions Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 demon. That can be annoying for your opponent to deal with, but it's not, like, necessarily useful. I mean, it could be good for, like, a zoo deck, I guess. We can go with a zoo deck, as always. So, I mean, it's not bad. It's got uses, obviously. Most cards generally have uses, except for trashy ones, like Arena Chest back in the... Oh my gosh, that card was horrible. They're like, how about a 4-cost 0/4 with a Death Rattle, you draw 2 cards. It's like, why? Why would you make a card like that? It's slow, and you gotta spend mana to even get rid of it. Your opponent ain't gonna kill it, unless they're using an AoE and you get lucky and they kill it. That card was terrible. This one's got uses, though. I'll give this 4 out of 10. Rustworm Innate. 2-cost 2/2, Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Impcaster with spell damage +1. It would be a lot nicer if that was a battle cry, because then you get that spell damage right away. Instead, you basically have to play him, wait until next turn, and hope your opponent doesn't kill it. Or if they kill the 2/2, they don't kill the 1/1 Impcaster as well. Because if they don't kill it, then you can run your 2/2 into something so it dies, and then you've got that Impcaster with the spell damage. So this card is just kind of weird. I don't think it's that great because of the spell damage being hidden, which makes it very hard and situational to actually be able to be used. So I'm going to go 3 out of 10 on this. Scavenging Shivera. 6-cost 6/3 Demon. Battlecry. Deals 6 damage, randomly split among all other minions. This is very useful if you're behind on the board, especially. Because then it just deals 6 damage, randomly split among all the enemy minions, which is super nice. So this card is actually very strong, I have noticed as well. Not as strong as the Demon Hunter one, that's like a 7-cost 6/5 that deals 6, randomly split among all enemies at the end of every single one of your turns. It's just like, that is so much value. But this one is very strong as well. So I will go with like a 7 out of 10 on this one. It's pretty good. Scrapyard Colossus. 7-cost 7/7 element. 7-cost 7/7. No. I said 10 cost and then I said 7-cost 7/7. That's not right. Let me try that again. Jeez, okay. 10-cost 7/7 elemental with taunt. Death Rattle, you summon 7/7 Fell Cracked Colossus with taunt, which is obviously very similar to what that is. Also, an elemental, if I'm remembering correctly. It's not great. 10-cost cards are very hard to actually make good and impactful most of the time. This is not one of those instances. Yes, you're getting 14/14 worth of taunt and stats. But, I mean, getting the Death Rattle, you could try to trigger that Death Rattle a bunch. But, it's hard when it costs 10. Because you're just playing this on that turn, nothing else. You can't play anything else. Unless you somehow, like, magically pull it out of your deck somehow with some... what am I looking for? I don't actually... Or like mind games. Except then your opponent had it. I don't know, I'm trying to... What are some of the options you have with that? Barnes could do it, but that's only wild. I don't know, it's not great, because 10 costs, it needs to do more. Which is very hard to do, because if you have it do more, then it's like, whoa, that's too strong. Because it's just, you're playing it, that's all you're doing. You gotta have 10 cards do a lot. Because all you're doing is playing it, and that is it. So, I'll go 4 out of 10 on this one. Soulbound Ashtongue, 1 cost, 1/4. Whenever this minion takes damage, also deal that amount to your hero. I don't think that's... I mean, that could be pretty strong for Priest, I guess, but that's about it. The rest probably don't want to play it. Because that extra 1 health is not worth it. To Priest, you can probably get away with it. Warrior, honestly, Warrior, you can probably get away with it too because of the armor. Hunter, you can't get away with it. Mage, you can't get away with it. Priest has enough healing. Paladin probably also has enough healing. Shaman maybe can, but probably not. Warlock probably can't get away with it. Unless you're purposely trying to take damage, then I guess go for it. So, I mean, this one's got its uses, as always. But that 1 health just... It doesn't feel worth it, because it's only 1 health. For that kind of downside, which could be huge later game. Where your opponent just, like, smacks an 8 cost into this. Or smacks an 8 attack into this, kills this, and you take 8 damage. And it's like, oh, that feels bad. Wish I would have gotten a 1/3 instead at that point. That doesn't hurt me. So yeah, it's got its uses, but limited. So I'm gonna go 4 out of 10. Supreme Abyssal. 8 cost 12/12 demon. Can't attack heroes. This card, honestly better than the 10 cost. By a lot. Yes, it can attack heroes, but you know how easy it is to silence it as Priest, especially? You got a 0 cost spell that silences a minion. Boom, now it can just go smacking faces now. It's so good. I honestly think this card's probably underrated by people. I think it's pretty strong. In 8 cost 12/12, I'll play that all day. Yeah, I can't attack heroes, but I can easily silence it. Or if anything, it helps easily keep board control. I've got nothing to say. I honestly really like it. I think it's pretty good at board control. Or you can just silence it. Like, come on. I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Because I think it's pretty dang strong. Terror Guard Escapee. 3 cost 3/7 demon. Battlecry summon 3 1/1 huntresses for your opponent. So let's say those 1/1 huntresses attack this. That'll put it down to a 3/4, which is a very normal, common baseline for a 3 cost minion. And it's a demon. I think it's not bad. Because most likely you probably have an answer for those 1/1 huntresses because you put it in your deck. And you're planning on giving those to your opponent. Then you can easily clear them. And now you got a 3/7. I do like it. I do like it a lot. I do think it has uses. So I will go with a 6 out of 10 for that one. Waste Warden. 5 cost 3/3. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to a minion and all other of the same minion type. That is weird. What's that? Same minion type? So let's say it deals 3 to all beasts? Are we talking like in the deck and everything? Or I'm thinking that has 3 3 damage to a minion and all others of the same minion type. Okay. I can get behind. You can play 2 of these. I can get behind that. Okay. Can be very good against a Murloc deck. Almost wipes the board, basically. I think it is just the board, though, so it's very situational. I think this is in case, like, a certain archetype, keeping them in check. Can't do Murloc decks. Dragon decks, no. We also have that Dragon Ball Poacher for Dragon decks, too. Man, that thing is great against dragons. Against anything else, it sucks. So, I think this could be pretty good. I'll go 6 out of 10. You're seeing lots of demons, so why not use this on demons? There you go. All are 5 cost 7/3 elemental. Death Rattle, summon a 0/3 Ashes of Alar that resurrects this minion on your next turn. So you gotta hope those Ashes live. Give 7/3 right back. Got a lot of attack, low health. But that's why it's got those Ashes to keep coming back, hopefully. So this one is very dependent on keeping that board control, especially, I think. And if you, like, trigger its Death Rattle a few times, then you can have multiple of these, and then you're just hitting everything, clearing the board, hitting the face while doing everything that needs to be done. So, I'll give this one pretty high remarks on this. I'll go 7 out of 10. I think this could be useful for... No, but it doesn't really fit anything. Yeah, it doesn't fit anything, but it's overall still a good card. So, yeah, I will go 7 out of 10 for just the card itself. I don't really rate them based on if they fit into a certain archetype. I try not to. I generally just kind of base the card on how it is and what kind of uses it could have. Not that it's going to be like meta play, like, hey, this card is pretty decent. Yeah, it can be pretty decent. Probably won't see play, but hey, it's pretty decent. I can see where the developers are coming from. They made a good choice, stuff like that. But like, it might not see meta play because there's something that completely crushes it that I'm not aware of or something. Like this, it's an overall good card, but easily taken out by any kind of control deck. Any kind of control deck crushes it, but it's still good, so I go 7 out of 10. This man. Kathas Sunstrider. 6 cost 4/7. Every third spell you cast each turn costs 0. I have seen uses for this, which is you play 2 small spells, and then you play a big spell. Then you play 2 small spells, then you play a big spell, which can very much lead to, like, OTK type stuff. Again, especially with Mage. Do, like, Magic Trick, and then you do Mirror Image. Then you do a free Pyroblast. After that, you do another Magic Trick. And you maybe play Secret. And then you do another Pyroblast. And then your opponent is just left for 20 health. I could see uses for this. Very much so. So, 7 out of 10. Marthradar. 4 cost 12/12 demon. Dormant, Battlecry, summon 3/1/3 enemy wardens. When they die, destroy all minions, and he is no longer dormant. So basically Deathwing, except you don't lose your hand. And it's not as expensive. And it's a little harder to get out. So 3/1/3 enemy wardens are not difficult to deal with. But you have to be aware that when this wakes up, it's going to destroy everything on the board. Which makes sense. So you gotta play, like, just the right amount that you don't commit too much to the board, but you're able to deal with the wardens so you can get your 12/12 awoken. Which is a pretty cool concept. I actually do like that. Is it good though? Yeah, it could be. It seems very... Destroying 3/13s. You have to make sure that there's enough room on the board, though. Because if it doesn't summon enough, then he can't wake up, and he's just stuck there for the rest of the game. Just horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I will go with like a 4 out of 10. I see this very difficult to actually get how you want it. Because, like, what you're probably most likely going to want to do is you're going to play this on a relatively empty board for them, and it's going to be your only minion. Then you're going to use a spell to destroy the 3, and then this guy wipes the rest of the board. Now you got a 12/12 on the board with nothing out there. And now it's your opponent's turn. And then you got to deal with the 12/12. That's best case scenario and probably what you're going to want most likely. Because you're not going to want to commit minions to the board to destroy those wardens. Because once those wardens are dead, you now lose the minions that you just committed to the board. So I will go 4 out of 10. Medivh's Shadow Song. 4 cost 4/3 battle cry, choose minion if it goes dormant for 2 turns. So this generally goes for just cards that are like, once this wakes up from being dormant, does this thing. Which could be good for not too many options. You don't have too many options, but that can be very strong. Like the Demon Hunter one that deals 10 damage randomly split among all enemies. That's a good one to do especially. Super good. Not too much to say on this. Because there's not too many options for it to use it on. Any type of battle cry, that doesn't work. Death rattles, it's not like it's killing it. Like, it only works for cards that are just like, when this awakens for being dormant, do this thing. And then it's done. Combos with this one if need be. Which then it wakes up and destroys all the minions again. I was like, oh boy. This does a lot. It's got some variety. I do like that. I will go with a 5. 5 out of 10. It's 6. Let's go 6. 6 out of 10. Terran Gore Fiend. 3 cost 3/4. Battle cry, destroy all friendly minions. Death rattle, resummon them with +1/+1. I do like what it's going for, but I do think it is too slow. Because you destroy all the minions, but you have to wait until this thing dies for you to get all your minions back with a little buff. Works great for other death rattles, though, too. Like, if you're playing just, like, basically a strictly death rattle deck, this works amazingly well. Amazingly well. For anything else, it's just a little buff, and now you got basically just this on the board. Most likely your opponent's just going to ignore it, so you don't get your buffs and your minions back. Now you just got this dude sitting on the board, which then he will kill himself on the next turn, and then you get all your minions back. But they're asleep, and you gotta wait another turn before you're actually able to use them. So I do think it is a bit too slow for too little that it actually does. The only place I see this good is Death Rattle decks, but that's not really like a thing. So I'm going to go with a 3 out of 10. And that is it. Leaving off on a rough note with Gore Fiend. I will see you all next time. when I jump back into Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I'll see you then.